I'm going to speak about communities of practice. And I want to start with a question of how many of you felt isolated, disconnected during your day-to-day, during your job, within your team? It can be a really lonely place, right? Paulo, eu não gosto de cenas. When I joined OutSystems, that's me, I found a team, they were kind of disconnected from the craft, from being a designers. And I've done some research with them, so individually. And I discovered they didn't have the time, the space, the mental space as well to connect with themselves as a designer and with the others as a team. Hi, I'm Sonia. I've been doing this shit for lots of time. I've worked on several industries, several companies. I've worked with some people in this room already. But in the end of the day, I'm just a designer, and that's it. And when someone asked me, who am I? I'm a designer, and that's it. But I'm also a mom of a small daughter. I'm also a friend. I'm also a spouse. I'm many things. But I really love to be a designer. And today we'll go through this agenda, which is I will talk a bit about the challenge that I faced at OutSystems, kind of the solution, and with the solution I mean there is one solution for a problem. You can find a lot of them, of course. How can you guys go home and build your own communities? Because in my opinion, I think that is the most important part of today, which is you guys go home and build your own things, adapt to your own reality. The lessons learned along the way results in terms of teams, so how we elevated and nurtured the design culture within a 80-person design team, which was a big challenge, and key takeaways. So the challenge was this one, nurturing the culture. When I joined OutSystems and I joined as design operations, I joined with this mission. And why was this necessary? Because this team was built by engineers, rooted in engineering principles. They acted, they talked, they discussed as engineers. And for me, it was like, what the fuck? Because they were not designers. I mean, they were, Paulo, but at the same time, they weren't. And Paulo, yeah. And it was super weird. Like, you went to a design critique, and they were discussing code and, like, not design, not experience. But they knew how to design. They knew the principles. They had a training in place. They were a huge team, 80 people. Gente, 80 pessoas. 80 marmanjos a fazer design. It's a lot of people, right? So they needed some help to build a culture, build the rituals, but most of the time they just needed the mindset and the behavioral things of being a designer, which is really hard to explain, but you can feel it. And above of all things, I think they were also missing the joy and the fun of being a designer. Come on. Like, I'm a designer for 20 years. I wouldn't be if I didn't have fun. I really like to do design and being with you guys and being around designers. You are my tribe. That's how I see it. And they were lacking that. So with the head of UX at the time, actually I had two of them, and with both of them we were aligned. We had several touch points of the design experience to rebuild, to rethink, coming up with tools and a strategy to put in place a more designy culture, a more designy way of thinking, way of approaching problems, not so solution-oriented, but more creative-oriented, more let's explore the problem space, not only jump to the solution space. So we came up with communities of practice, which is something that GitLab is doing and was doing already, so nothing new. We didn't invent this thing at all. We just inspired ourselves on that tool and used as a tool, really as a tool. So we tried to build this intentional space. I don't know how many of you are married, but marriage, and mainly after kids, it takes a lot of work, a lot of intention of being together, of building a life. And being a designer in this huge team, huge company like OutSystems also needed intention. So I started to observe rituals they already had in place, like critiques or reviews or syncs or work sessions. And some designers, they were doing design, but others were doing kind of design development engineering things. They didn't have a space where they could play, nerd about design, learn with each other, junior guys learning with senior guys, because that's important. When you are in a big team or in any team, you need to learn from each other. And also, junior guys can teach senior guys. So we need to be together. We need to share something, but we need to have that space. And that space allowed these practices to also grow and evolve, because we had a lot of small teams inside this huge amount of teams of 80 people, right? So we had teams of product design, UI, UX, motion, content, research. So small teams. But they were all always and working apart, because they were integrated in these cross-functional teams, and they were a bit lonely, of course. And design is all about community. And the designer that doesn't feel that, I'm really sorry, because I must say that person feels lonely for sure, because design is about community, is about business as well. But design is much more about problem solving, creativity, passion. Without passion, come on, we don't have the patience to be doing this job and handling product manager, saying, oh, I need this, oh, I need that, and developers, oh, we can't build that. Like, we need to be really patient and passionate about design and function and beauty, because life is too short for bad design and ugly stuff, right? So that's why we created these 4 communities of practice, each one with their own leadership team and members. Let's call it this way. So where can you start to build your own communities within your companies or outside of them? You know. And what is a community of practice? Super simple. A group of people that like of the same thing, they share an expertise, a profession, a passion, and they come together and they share things. They share knowledge, they share love, my friends, they share love. This is what we are doing here. This is what Malik has been doing, sharing love of building and coming together with all these people. So we started our first step after a meeting between myself, the head of UX, and some senior leadership was to go and speak with key designers so we could sense, we could measure the temperature. Are they okay with this? Are they buying this? Because this initiative wouldn't survive or wouldn't be born actually without their buying. Because this would imply their ownership, autonomy, leadership, and much, much more about influence people than other thing. So my work as design ops at the time was about influencing people. So I had to convince these people this was a special treat, a special position, so they could see this as a privilege. But we started with these foundations or principles that would guide the community or all the communities up until today that I'm aware of this. And those are the fact that communities are bottom-up. This is not a thing that a manager comes in and says, oh, you need to build a community of practice. Nope, not this way. You need to influence people so people can and want to build a community and have all the work, and in the end of the month, they will receive the same. So they need to really want it. Autonomy, but not like entrego à bicharada. It's more like guiding them, giving key directions. Leadership, this is a heavy work in terms of time-consuming work. So the fact that we have decided just the beginning, first thing that was rotative, it was very well received because everyone would have the opportunity to lead, to use the community as a playground to experiment as well, being a leader without being a manager. Because, you know, being a manager is a lot of admin work and stuff. I've been there a lot of years, so I know what I'm talking about. And people are really hard to manage sometimes. So they could also try the thing of being a leader, gaining that influence, and having this safe space where they also could fail. And that's all right, because fail is important, but having the space for that is even more important. So I will give you, and I will go through very quickly these 6 steps. This was the process, but I think this was very natural, not very structured at the time, but now that I was building the talk and the article that you guys can go and read as well, we kind of follow this structure. So number one, defining the number and the types of communities of practice. And like I said, the number, but their purpose. So what they're gonna do, what their goal, who is the community leader and the moderator? How will we rotate this monthly, quarterly, yearly? For example, we had the community leader rotating yearly and the moderator rotating quarterly, because the moderator was a role that implied even more work, so we needed to rotate even more. The leader or the community leader was more an inspirational place and making sure that everything was according with the goals, the purpose, people were attending, this kind of things. So an extended period was better. Some guidelines, also some ideas of activities, because sometimes it can be a bit hard, like what you're gonna do with this time, right? And most important, here, having the buy-in of the leadership team, because their managers or their leads, they need to be, they need kind of to agree with this. They need to be on board, because otherwise they don't have the time and encouragement to participate. So it's very important. Then create a pitch deck. Just sell your fish. A compelling narrative, a marketing narrative to convince people this is a good idea. I think that's all. And tailor that pitch to each audience. Example, I tailored to the leadership team. So what was for them in terms of team? What was for them in terms of the initiatives they were working on? And the big team, which activities would be ideal and would be exciting? So, vendam o peixe. This is very important, and I've said before as well. Making it desirable. So this is an important opportunity for you to grow, for you to excel as a leader, as a designer. This is the kind of the package that you need to put this as well. And then the wider team, I've covered this one. Then help the leaders with a vision, and also setting up the community with lists, with emails, some operational things, basic things, but they will feel supported. Still, they will have the autonomy and the ownership, and you are there as a backup just to help, just to guide. And metrics. If you want to have this as a long-term initiative, you need to have kind of sponsors and metrics and buy-in and prove this will bring positive things, good things to the team and product. So you need to measure those things. At the time, our concern was more about engagement and impact, because many people were saying, oh, many people tried that, Sonia, and they didn't manage to build the communities, they failed. These things, they ended up disappearing and stuff. So I was really concerned about engagement, keeping people turning up, engaged, participating. actively, not just go in there e picar o ponto. Not that, right? And one of the main lessons was that first one that I just told you guys, which was you need to believe in the vision and this will work out, because many people told me, Sonia, you're gonna fail. Challenge accepted, bitch. Ponto número 1, logo. So, people can be a bit resistant to the change, and that's all right. They can be, they don't believe or they don't need a community, that's all right as well. But just be resilient and believe in your vision and believe and hear the ones that need the community to be happy, productive, better designers. Also, maintaining momentum is really hard, and OutSystems was always changing, reorgs after reorgs, and that was very intense for everyone. So build a community to be flexible and to adapt to all these changes of teams, products, people, leaders, managers, wherever. Build a safe place for them to go when everything falls apart. I think this is the most important thing. And be patient, because organizational change takes a lot of time. And I feel that only when I was laid off, 3 years after joining OutSystems, I started to feel the impact of my work, the results of my work. And that took 3 years. And that's okay, because companies are full of people and people take time to adapt and see things. Some real life examples. For example, the product design community, they focus on events. They invited Pedro from GitLab or Minji from Spotify, Shopify to come to our company, like a call, of course, not in person at the time. And this was so refreshing for everyone, and they could share their learnings and their pains as well, and they were so motivated that this was not just a product design. Then everyone in the UX group and outside of the UX group started to come into to assist and to participate, actually. So it was very positive. The UX UI community, they focus much more on the evolving the UX practice, ideation sessions, a lot of workshops, just to figure out how they could tackle several problems, experience problems, but they didn't have the time on their products, on their day-to-day, so they came together and started to build work groups to solve problems. UXR meeting point, they created this annual event, which became an annual event with very well-known team as well, and it became a reference. So their effort, their win. Then the content team, they built this OutSystems, a product language and style guide. So it's a content style guide. And they built this that then evolved to part of the design, the system team as well. And this was just them during a couple of hours, days, weeks, months, they were building up. And then after I left, they built a logo animated. And I was like, oh. And I was so happy because in the end, I thought maybe this will die because I'm not there anymore. So I'm not there like asking people, how are you doing? Do you need help? No, didn't die. It's there already. And we have a new one as well. Developers, they liked this and they started their own community. And I was super proud of them. I was like, fuck it. Yeah. And they have events and ping pong events and stuff. This was all after. This is cool, right? Yes.
The magic of mobile.
Like, so yeah, I think with time and intention, we can nurture the culture and see change. And the design quality and consistency and the sense of community will lead to to job satisfaction. So key takeaways said that make it desirable, leadership buy-in, this is a bottom-up thing for sure. Give them guidance, but mainly give them autonomy, ownership. Be patient and flexible. And a big thank you to these guys. They were the first leaders. They believed in this initiative. You are not here, Paul, sorry. And no, I know. Thank you, guys, that's all.